Artisan's Acuity is absolutely essential to your profession in the war within, and today I'm going to show you how you can get hundreds more of it. Whether you're a crafter or a gatherer, it's going to have a significant effect on the amount of gold you can make. This is basically because it can be directly converted into knowledge points via the books that you can buy from the Artisan's Acuity vendor, but it's also used to craft your profession tools, which you need to be able to craft anything at max rank without using concentration. For a lot of crafts, you don't actually need that many knowledge points. It's the Artisan's Acuity and getting those rare profession tools that is the barrier to crafting at max rank and making all the gold. A day after War Within Early Access releases, and I'm here crafting loads of different rank 3 enchants without using concentration. Something that's going to take most crafters weeks, and that's mostly down to farming the Artisan's Acuity. For farmers, it's really nice too. I could get just short of 100 knowledge points on my miner in early access. You can see here I have 83 knowledge points and the game has not officially released yet. Just a bit more Artisan's Acuity, I can buy the next book. That'll take me up to 98, just short of 100 knowledge, only a few days after release. So how have I got hundreds and hundreds of Artisan's Acuity then? Besides the 350 Artisan's Acuity you get from the crafting introductory quest, this stuff is rare. Only way to get it in the game at the moment is from first time crafts, and you get 5 for every one of them you do. I say every first time craft. Blizzard actually changed it to make it a little bit more challenging, so you only get the first time crafts from non-trainer recipes. That basically cuts the Artisan's Acuity farm down to crafts that come from recipes, discoveries, and anything you unlock in the knowledge trees. This means if you want to farm it, you really need to target the right professions and the right recipes. Something else I'm getting asked about a lot is about the Artisan's Acuity farm from profession treasures. So in the beta you was able to get some Artisan's Acuity from farming the treasures, and you would cycle through all the professions. This was nerfed a while ago, guys. I know a few of you have been asking me about that, so don't try doing that. You're not going to get any benefit from that. This is the only way that I'm going to talk about today that you get your Artisan's Acuity now. I'm not going to cover the entire Artisan's Acuity farm, as it is absolutely brutal, stupidly expensive and time consuming, but I thought I would look at a bit of a budget version that perhaps some of you may be interested in. As we go through this, it's going to get progressively more expensive and time consuming. We're going to start off with Enchanting then, and this is going to give us over 100 Artisan's Acuity fairly quickly, easily and reasonably cheaply. We need to get Enchanting skill to 25. You can do this at basically no cost to yourself simply by disenchanting all the way there. You can basically do this for free if you disenchant as you replace gear, etc., or if you just buy stuff from the auction house. People are mass producing gear at the moment for leveling professions and then just dumping it on the auction house. I have picked up loads of stuff for under 100 gold each. The last few skill points can take quite a few disenchants, so if you do get bored of waiting, you can always craft a few things to speed up the process, but don't go spending too much gold. We then need to get at least 5 enchanting profession knowledge points. The quickest way to do this is just by collecting the 2 treasures that are nearby the city. You can see the locations on the screen now. We want to unlock the enchanting tree on the far right and put 5 points in the first node to unlock Deceptive Decoration. This is going to unlock Gleeful Glamours, and that's going to give you 6 recipes that you can craft. We're going to craft all of them once. That gives us loads of Artisan's Acuity, but it also gives us more enchanting knowledge. We can use that enchanting knowledge to unlock more of the Gleeful Glamours enchanting tree. This in turn will unlock more glamours for us to unlock. We can repeat this process for the entire Gleeful Glamours tree just for an initial cost of 5 enchanting knowledge points that we had. You can get over 20 first time crafts from this, and therefore over 100 Artisan's Acuity for fairly little effort. Enchanting is by far the easiest and cheapest method for doing this, so if you found this too much to stomach, then what is coming up is really not going to be for you. But this is sort of a fairly quick and easy 100 Artisan's Acuity that you could perhaps do on most characters if you really wanted to. Next, we're moving on to Inscription, and this is when it's going to start getting expensive. As a note here, this is expensive because we're at the start of an expansion and the material prices are silly high. This will become significantly cheaper as time goes on, so even if it's too expensive for you today, next week or the week after, if you really want to give this a go for the extra Artisan's Acuity, then it may become more affordable then. Like with Enchanting, we need to get to level 25 to unlock the Inscription specialization tree. You're going to have to mill some herbs and craft some inks to get to that stage. Herbs in particular are expensive. Personally, I just milled whatever herbs happen to be the cheapest at the time. Even if you have pigments, inks, etc. left over, you're still going to have to buy stuff from the auction house. Even if you have pigments, etc., ink at the end, everything is selling quite well at the moment, so you should be able to make a good chunk of gold back from what you have actually spent. As soon as we hit 25 Inscription skill, we're going to unlock Pursuit of Knowledge. This allows us to craft a Treaties of Inscription. This is consumable that gives us +1 profession knowledge for whatever profession it applies to. We can't actually use these in early access yet, but we will be able to soon. You get given the recipes for Treaties of Inscription, but each time you craft any treatise, you have a chance of learning one of the other recipes. We obviously want to unlock all of the recipes as well as crafting each of them at least once. Now these are not particularly cheap to craft. The boundless ciphers in particular are a bit pricey at the moment, but there is a big but here. Firstly, there will be huge demand for these soon. You can likely pick up public work orders for them fairly easily as long as you're not on a super low population realm. That's amazing, as not only are you not paying the material costs, but there's also a good chance you can get a tip out of it as well. Even if you can't get public work orders for these, then you do want to have these treaties on any character that you want to take their profession seriously. This is my miner Herbert, so you can see here as soon as I unlocked the herbalism and mining treaties, I made loads of these whenever I didn't have a first craft bonus available and I was fishing for a new recipe. I can't use all of these today, but I have my treaties to use for the next few weeks, which I would have had to spend gold on anyway. Any other character on your account can send personal work orders to this character to get their treaties as well. So even though you're spending quite a lot, it's stuff you're going to have to buy on your characters anyway, so it's not like it's such a waste. Unless you're gathering, in a lot of circumstances you probably only really want to be running one profession seriously because you don't have the Artisan Acuity to max out 2 professions for a very, very long time. If you're only intending on running one profession on this character you're using to farm the Artisan Acuity, then it is really worth considering making sure Inscription is the last one you do. Firstly, you can make a little bit of gold from doing the public work orders. That's fine. For me though, having a character with all the treatise recipes is just really useful, not messing around getting randoms to do them for you, and not costing you that extra little bit of tip gold every time as well, and not having the time lag of waiting for someone to craft for you. Overall then, Inscription may only give you just over 50 Artisan Acuity, and it's not cheap, but you should be able to mitigate some of the cost, and a lot of what you're making is stuff that you're going to be needing sooner or later anyway. Next up is Engineering. Engineering has a huge amount of Artisan Acuity attached to it, but it's also a pain in the arse. You start with nothing that you can craft that will give you skill. All you get is scour through scrap. You need to get some piles of rusted scrap, at least 20 to be able to level up to 5 skill, so we can train it, pilfer through parts. The easiest way to do this is just to grab one of the engineering treasures. There's one in the city that takes about 30 seconds to get. Once you have it, scour through scrap 4 times and train pilfer through parts. We need to pilfer through parts to get rusted scrap. We can use almost any engineering parts for any expansion to do this, but the most popular ones seem to be past expansion bolts, which give 1 rusted scrap per craft, or greased gears, which give more but also cost a lot more gold. You're going to cycle through pilfering parts to get the scrap, then scour through scrap to unlock recipes. You will occasionally get prototypes which you need to use to unlock the recipe. Some of them are difficult to use, for example one requires you to use it in PvP, and the jumper cables needs a player corpse. Didn't mess around with these, I simply disassembled these once I unlocked the ability to do that. When you disassemble an invention you get hastily scrawled notes. 15 of these can be combined to give you a guaranteed choice between 3 recipes. When you get a choice between 3 recipes, make sure it's one that's easy to craft. Getting them out craft may look cool, but it's a lot more expensive than an uncommon profession tool to craft if you are just after the Artisan's Acuity first craft bonus. That is basically it for engineering. It looks quick and easy, but I have really speed run through this process. It is very time consuming and very expensive because each of these recipes has come from a discovery. All of them give Artisan's Acuity, but trust me, you do your work to get this. there is a budget version of engineering as well, where you just grab maybe the first 10 to 12 cheap crafts. You get 6 from the basic engineering parts, for example, and the invent that you get as well, that works too. This may be more palatable for a lot of players. Generally speaking, this is where my line in the sand is. This takes way too much effort at this point for professions that you're only using, reasonably casually. I went significantly further to be the first one to be able to craft everything at rank 3 world first without using concentration. But it is just simply not worth the effort and the gold to go past this point. To be fair, I think even going past the inscription, even doing anything in engineering is not worth it for the vast majority of players. From here, if you was feeling like you did have too much gold and time on your hands, you could move on to alchemy. Like with engineering, nearly all of alchemy's recipes are discoveries and give Artisan's Acuity, but it's even more tedious and more expensive than engineering, which is why we're going to stop here. If you're watching this video, I would generally say it's not worth the effort of pushing Artisan's Acuity as much as someone like me does. The Enchanting Shuffle is fine for most players. I think 100 plus Artisan's Acuity for very little time and gold is great. The Inscription one is worth doing at least once an account, if anything, just to be able to craft all those treaties for your characters anyway, and that'll save you a lot of gold and hassle in the long run. Messing around with engineering and alchemy is just too far for the vast majority of players. The gold cost is just insane at the moment. I hope this helps a little bit, guys. Thanks for watching and see you next time.